A batch of showers arriving into Cornwall and Devon. They'll move through overnight. But all in all, fewer showers overnight compared with the daytime, and with some clear spells about, well, temperatures will dip gradually to the mid-teens generally, although some spots holding up at 16 or 17 Celsius. Some mistiness around northern and eastern coasts. As we start off Wednesday, a real mixture of weather across the UK. Outbreaks of rain across parts of southern Scotland into northern England. That tends to drift southwards. Showers tending to pop up elsewhere, initially across southern parts of England, and then the focus for showers shifts east into the afternoon, with it turning drier towards the southwest and some decent sunny spells developing. Once again, feeling warm under any sunny spells.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News traffic and travel report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M4 westbound at junction 42 Earlswood remains closed with diversions. On the M60 clockwise in Salford, a collision at junction 15 causes lane closures and 30-minute delays. In Hampshire, a collision on the M3 westbound between junctions 5 and 6 results in 15-minute delays. Expect congestion on the A14 eastbound in Suffolk between junction 54 Ipswich West and junction 56 Ipswich Docks. And on the trains, the Elizabeth line between London Paddington and Reading faces disruption, while Hull Trains has reduced services due to industrial action. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News traffic and travel report.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Yeah, so I got the news on 4th of April, right in between GB Team Selection Series, which hurt even more because I was leading in the points. But all of a sudden, I get a phone call being told you're banned from attending any Pal UK premises, banned from speaking with your teammates or staff, which was the most brutal part of it, and suspended, or whatever word you want to use.
I think, though, Kurt, that posting subscription-only saucy content online might get you in a little bit of trouble, or did it not cross your mind?
No, for sure. But I want to make it clear that I have tried things in the past. I've been living life on the edge so many years. We moved from Latvia in 2010, been living life on the edge since then, done everything from working freelance long into the long nights, working at the Amazon warehouse. I have seeked out other alternatives, but in December last year, I got to a point of realization where I thought, is it worth it, or can I find an alternative? And I knew of other GB athletes doing it. I didn't think it was going to cause outrage like this.
Yeah, because I was thinking, a nice chap like you, who's obviously very talented with your sport, you could make some money doing, like online fitness training or personal training and things like that don't involve, getting your kit off.
No, for sure. I've been making content for like 6-7 years now. Over 1,000 of the pieces of content have been inspirational, motivational. I've visited over 30 schools in the UK, going to the hardest parts of the UK, inspiring kids from underprivileged backgrounds to get into sport. I've tried that, but I don't know. I found that in this day and age, unless you are smart or find some little controversial thing you can hold on to, it's going to be hard to get attention and sponsorship.
GB News, the People's Channel.
It's 9:30 on Tuesday, the 22nd of July, live across the United Kingdom. This is Britain's Newsroom with Charlie Peters and Dawn Neese.
Yeah, good morning to you. Now, your story is this. Migrant gang sanctions. People smugglers face having assets frozen and being banned from Britain as the government keep trying to smash those gangs. Meanwhile...
You are a human trafficker, aren't you?
Are there?
Yes. Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? So if you have a look quickly, just quickly, right?
Yes, our very own Patrick Christie's challenged people smugglers at the heart of the small boat migrant crisis in Calais. You've got to see his report.
Really have. It's a cracking one. And tourist tax tiff. Angela Rayner wants to cash in on Britain's tourism industry, but Chancellor Rachel Reeves opposes the idea. She dismissed the notion this morning.
I made decisions around taxation, and we made decisions in last year's budget. That was a once-in-a-generation budget.
I make the decisions around taxation, Rachel Reeves says, making it very clear that Angela Rayner's interventions are not welcome.
And Tory leader Kemi Badenoch is reshuffling her shadow cabinet today. We'll keep you up to date with all of those changes.
And bling, bling, Blair. New files reveal Sir Tony and Sherry Blair were told to pay back thousands after bagging £50,000 in secret designer clothes discounts during their time in office. Sounds familiar, that one.
Who runs Britain? No, I mean, who really runs Britain? Where are our laws decided upon?
And the former Home Secretary and Attorney General Suella Braverman will join us on the show this morning to discuss her plan of how Britain could quit the European Convention on Human Rights.
We might be the favourite, but we have to be at our very, very best to win the game.
And come on, England. England ladies boss Serena Wiegman is hoping her team can beat Italy in the Euros semi-final tonight. Come on, the Lionesses. So we are very excited for two things this morning. One, we've got Suella coming into the studio to talk to us live about ECHR, what's going on at Epping, Patrick Christie's report and migration in general. And she's very, very straight talking. You know she is, so you don't want to miss anything she's got to say. So that is coming up on the show. And I'm also excited about the football tonight. However, a Spurs fan standing very close to me isn't that bothered. Why aren't you bothered?
I'm not saying I'm not that bothered. I'm always delighted when England plays sport, regardless of what it is. Having said that, actually, I take that back. If I could choose between England win the rugby or I receive £5, I'd probably take the fiver. I'm not really bothered by that sport.
OK, no, I don't really understand that.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Well,
but
you know,
the girls doing
pints are
it.
expensive
You know
these
what?
days.
And if it was the boys, right? If this is a sexist rant here coming on there. But if
Lovely.
it was the boys, it'd be all over the front. You know, they'd be draped in the flag and lions
They are
behind
on the front
them.
pages,
Oh,
the
on a
lionesses.
couple of them.
OK.
But a lot of them ignoring them. If it was the boys, it'd be every single paper, the country behind them. And now it's, well, it's girls, isn't it? But will they take the knee? Won't they take the knee? We've got that debate coming up as well.
We'll have that all. And we also have an exclusive on the government's new anti-Muslim hate group. It's a potential conflict of interest we'll be revealing later. And also some concerns that this new group has slammed the government's counter-extremism programme. Some very concerning comments there. So loads for you to get involved with. Please do send your views, post your comments by visiting gbnews.com/your say. Don will be keen to read all your takes on the Lionesses.
Yes, I will. Yes, please do get in touch. And especially if, like me, you're a West Ham fan and you have anything you want to say about Spurs. You know, just a thought there, putting that out for you.
To read that.
But keep those messages coming in because you are the favourite bit of the show for us. But first, let's get the 60-second news update with Aaron Armstrong.
Hello, good morning to you. Our headlines. Police have confirmed the body found in a lake in Cheshire on Monday is that of the missing mother, Rachel Booth. The 38-year-old was last seen on CCTV at a petrol station in the early hours of Saturday. The government is to impose sanctions on people who help migrants come to the UK. The measures will target gang leaders, corrupt police officers, companies selling small boat equipment, and those helping to facilitate money transfers. Britain's joined 27 other countries in accusing Israel of drip-feeding aid to starving Palestinians in Gaza, where they say the suffering has reached new depths. A joint statement is demanding Israel immediately lift restrictions on the flow of aid and bring the war to an end. Ministers are to make substantial changes to compensation for victims of the infected blood scandal, opening the scheme up to more people for greater sums of money. It follows a heavily critical report into the payment scheme. And the government signed a deal with OpenAI to explore use of its advanced artificial intelligence in areas like justice, security and education. The wide-ranging agreement with the firm behind ChatGPT comes after a similar deal signed with Google. That's it for the moment. More on all those stories and a little bit more at the top of the hour.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Thanks, Aaron, and good morning. Hello and welcome. This is Britain's Newsroom live across the United Kingdom. GB News with me, Charlie Peters, and Dawn Neeson. We're standing in for Andrew and Bev.
We are indeed. They let us back. I know, mad fools that they are. OK, now the government is launching a major crackdown on people smugglers.
Yes, under new plans announced by the Foreign Secretary, those involved in assisting and organising illegal immigration to Britain will face having their assets frozen and travel banned.
This comes as GB News conducted an undercover sting operation aimed at exposing the true scale of Britain's migrant crisis. Have a look at this.
We've been given a location to meet a human trafficker, and we are on our way there now. We are 16 minutes away. There's a lot of people. I mean, maybe they're meeting him as well, really. Bear in mind how brazen this guy is, right? So he puts his WhatsApp phone number on TikTok. He's not afraid of the law. He doesn't care. He's not afraid of getting caught. Hello. How are you? Are you okay? You've sent me a location to say I should meet you here.
No speak English.
You don't speak English. It's just you spoke English when you messaged me before, didn't you? They are the human traffickers who are bringing people across. We're going to hand all of this over to the French police and see if anything can be done about it. Another human trafficker has sent me a live location, which is just a few hundred metres down this road. Someone who works with me will come and pick you up, give him 1,500 euros so you can go on this trip. He's also sent a voice note.
Okay, Batra Habibi, 10 minutes coming, my friend.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm Patrick Christie's. I'm from GB News. And you are a human trafficker, aren't you?
Are there?
Yes. Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? You know, when people die in the Channel, do you feel any kind of conscience about that at all? Do you feel bad about that at all? Or not? No? You don't? No? All right, we're going to have to get out of here. We just had glass bottles thrown at us. So, that's that. OK, well, yeah, we just had a glass bottles thrown at us, and I think it's probably best if we get out of here. OK. All right. Well, what we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Yeah, we're being pelted by stuff. Get a move on, Fine? OK. OK. Well, last time I was here, no one was filming us back, and there wasn't this kind of level of aggression that we see from some of them.
Yeah, Patrick Christie's masterclass there, and joining us to react to all of it is the former head of Border Force, Tony Smith. Good morning, Tony. Thanks for joining us this morning. These new measures being announced by the government then, we're hearing that these sanctions will go to at least 2 police officers. Is that really sufficient?
Charlie, can I first say what a fantastic job your guys are doing? I know you do it. I know Mark does it. I've seen Patrick's. I mean, this is fantastic that you are putting camera crews out there and bringing back the pictures of what is really going on in Calais, because otherwise we're only listening to spin and other pronouncements. But this is absolutely brilliant reporting. And I think you've really hit the nail on the head there with that report from Patrick last night, in that he has been able, with a small camera crew and a car, to go over there and find 3 human traffickers and take in a wad of paperwork to the local French police station, who said thank you very much. But I mean, what is actually happening on the ground there with the French police? What are the European enforcement agencies doing? If media can go and identify people that easily who are clearly at least first-level smugglers, then I'm not sure all of these announcements about new powers and authorities are going to work unless we see some real operational activity. And the only operational activity I'm seeing at the moment is those reports that you guys are producing, Charlie. So, I mean, I do think it's a good thing that they are, going to go after the assets. I was never a fan of the criminal justice system for this, and we do need to seize assets. I'm sure the Border Security Command are very happy that we've got these additional powers, but you do need the cooperation, as your report shows, of the local people, don't you? The local police in France and further afield in Europe and further afield. And I know from my own experience that's extremely difficult to obtain.
Tony, look, every little helps, obviously, and Patrick's report is brilliant. And Patrick admits himself on the longer piece of that footage that it didn't take him long to do that. It was literally rock up, make one phone call, these people are there in front of you. You could arrest them there and then. So quite why the combined forces of the French and the British can't do that, I have no idea. But, you know, the announcement today, we're going to freeze assets, we're going to close down the businesses that make the dinghies. I mean, these people are criminals, you know, freezing their bank accounts. Well, they've got a load more. Strange enough, they're not going to take any notice of this. Or are they? Will it make a difference?
Yeah, Dawn, I do chair border management conferences in different parts of the world, so I have met a number of the officers from National Crime Agency, other countries who have officers posted in these countries, and they would tell you, if they were allowed to, that it's extremely difficult because actually, yes, there is a lot of corruption, you know, in governments around the world. This is business, big money, and so you're actually trying to take on a very, very significant global enterprise through your own, you know, British legal frameworks. You can't do it alone. The UN have got people out there. I've spoken to them. Yes, of course, seizing assets is going to help, but you must have a removals deterrent, Dawn. That's what I've said from day one. We must be able to send a message to the migrants in Calais. It's not worth it. And if you arrive at our shores, you will be detained and deported. And we're not able to send that message. We haven't been able to do that. The only time we've done that is with the Albanians a couple of years ago, and make a dent in the figures. But apart from that, I'm afraid these tactics alone, in terms of extending powers and authorities, are not going to work.
Tony, just reading gbnews.com/your say, one of our viewers, Martin Slade, is asking, why aren't the French facing sanctions for helping migrants cross the channel? Obviously, we saw that footage a couple of weeks ago of the French gendarmerie slashing those boats. But there's clear concern, isn't there? I mean, we've just seen it from our viewer, Martin, but across the country, of course, about not enough being done on the French side to tackle this issue.
Yeah, as you say, Charlie, we've seen it on the beaches, haven't we? You know, we've heard about this deal that we've done with the French, but actually your pictures show that the French police aren't really doing very much at all, are they? We've seen the odd, you know, intervention on the water. I've been advocating that for a long time now. The odd intervention on the beaches. We send them a lot of money. But the fact of the matter is, it's high politics. And actually, for those officers over there to be tasked to do something will come ultimately from the French Ministry of Interior. And they're the ones that will be pulling the strings on all this. And that, in turn, is being run by Brussels and the European Union. And so there will need to be very, very clear tasking to the French police for them to do some of the things that we would like them to do. And I'm not sure that's happening at the moment. So we do need to keep that political door open and keep talking to them. But at the end of the day, Charlie, we can't control what the French do or what the EU do. We can only control what we do.
Tony, if we can't control that, why the hell have we given them £750 million?
Well, I think the idea was, Dawn, that at least that would help in some respects, that we have got the French police doing something. I think they'd be doing nothing at all if we didn't pay them anything at all. And you have seen, I mean, your own pictures show the migrant population in the part of Calais is now going up all the time. It's getting increasingly dangerous over there. So I think there has to be some kind of a common ground with the French that this is not a good thing for France. It's not a good thing for Calais. They need to stop this constant flow of irregular migration from across the Schengen zone into the part of Calais, else they're going to be facing law and order issues of this sort. So we do need to help them. We have got good assets, but the problem is, Dawn, what are they going to allow us to do? They only allow us to provide them with certain levels of support. We're not allowed to put boots on the ground over there. We've had huge difficulties in being able to enter, you know, penetrate the intelligence structure where we have huge assets we could offer that I don't think are being used properly. So I still think there's some kind of a political blockage here that's not enabling us to get the very best value that we could be getting out of the French authorities.
Tony, just one final very quick question. We hear time and time again, but these are vulnerable people. They're fleeing famine and torture, etc., etc. From what we see there, and from speaking to Patrick personally, we know that that is a dangerous situation. He was threatened, and pretty much everyone on that footage is a strapping young man. They're not vulnerable people.
No, this is dangerous times. Be careful. I hope you take security with you out there.
No, we do.
We have had stabbings. We have had there is serious crime going on Yeah, there are amongst them people who have a story, a sad story to tell about what happened back home. A lot of them haven't been home for a long time. They've been in Europe for many years. Europe's safe, France is safe. They could stay there. They just don't want to stay there, Dawn, because they know that if they can get across the channel, get into our zone, they will get into the UK. And there's very likely at the moment, under current policy, they're going to get to stay. So for them, it's worth it. But I don't think that Calais is full of the most vulnerable people in the world. They're in UNHCR camps around the world. If we want to bring people in and make a real difference, and that's where we should be looking, not across the channel to France, which is actually, a very significant number of people there are not genuine asylum seekers and actually really just want to get here for a better life.
OK, Tony Smith, former head of Border Force, thank you so much. Now, a Home Office spokesperson has said that we all want to end dangerous small boat crossings, which fuel organised criminal activity, put vulnerable lives at risk and undermine the security of our borders. We are determined to tackle the gangs behind that trade, and our law enforcement agencies have delivered dozens of high-impact disruptions against them in the past year. Dawn, I think what you said about the fact that all those people we've seen in those pictures are young men, I think that's very true.
Coming to a hotel near you, sir. We know what's happening in Epping. That's not going to go away in that situation.
Really
it's very worrying. And we know exactly the threat and the violence that Patrick was threatened with. These people don't look vulnerable to me. I don't know about you. Let us know what you think. gbnews.com/your say. OK, still to come.
Yeah, up next we'll have further discussion on the rift between Angela Rayner and Rachel Reeves. That's deepening this morning. But first, if you are in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast of some of the top European destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
It's going to stay sunny across much of southern Europe this week, increasingly hot in Greece, but rather windy at times for Portugal and the Canaries. It's often windy for the Canary Islands at this time of year, but it's even more so over the next few days. Likewise for Portugal. Plenty of sunshine, however, through Iberia, a lot of showers through the Pyrenees and southern France. Italy, largely fine across much of the country, but we've got the heat building in Greece, temperatures inland up to 43 Celsius.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's completely unacceptable to have a biological man in a female-only changing room. And from my personal point of view, I was abused as a child, and having a man in our changing room is a particular trigger for me. And the trust just did nothing about it, so we had to take things further.
So you complained to the trust about this. You and your colleagues got together, and they just ignored you. They didn't really care about it.
Not a bit. They didn't care at all. We wrote a letter of concern. 26 of us signed it, and the response was that we needed to be re-educated. We needed to broaden our mindset, and they backed this trans person 150%.
So, Karen, this person who identifies as Rose, on one occasion they were staring at you or your colleagues' breasts in this changing room and asking, are you getting changed yet? Another of your colleagues had a panic attack. I don't think it was you. Is that accurate?
That was me.
And what do you make of people who call you a TERF or a bigot for complaining about this kind of thing? Because that's what they say.
They do, yes, but there's been loads of positivity out there for us. There's loads of positive comments, and I'm not a bigot. I'm not a TERF. I'm just fighting for what's right. I want to feel safe when I get changed. Yeah. There's what's happened to me could have happened to other people, and I want to be a voice for them to stand up and come forward and say this is not acceptable.
Karen, you're a brave lady, you and your colleagues, and I'm glad, actually, it was Wes Streeting who intervened in the end, one of the more competent Labour ministers, who told Darlington Hospital, sort this out, you know, pull your finger out, don't be so ridiculous, and he got involved and he sorted it out for you.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Good morning. It is, 10 to 10. I've just gone 10 to 10, actually. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Now, the Deputy Labour leader, Angela Rayner, is pushing for councils to be given new powers to tax tourists and cash in on those visiting Britain.
But it's reported that this idea was poorly received by the Chancellor. So will they ever get on?
Well, joining us now in the studio is our political correspondent, Catherine Forster. Catherine, good morning. What's this row all about?
It's a bit of a turf war going on between the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, who's also in charge of communities and local government, and the Chancellor. So Angela Rayner has suggested that a tourist tax might be introduced because local councils are very, very short of money. People like the London Mayor, Sadiq Khan, and the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, are in favour of this. And basically, if you stay in a hotel or an Airbnb, you pay a little bit more money. We have it there's plenty of places that I've been where I've had to pay. It was in Venice a couple of weeks ago. Lots of cities around the world have this, and Angela Rayner's argument is it will help councils, and she wants to devolve as much power and authority to local leaders and local councils. But the Treasury is having none of it. Now, Rachel Reeves, speaking to the media this morning, was asked about this and basically said, I'm in charge of economic policy. It's not the first time that Angela Rayner has strayed onto trampling all over Rachel Reeves' toes. There was memos leaked earlier in the year which she made a long list of tax economic suggestions which did not go down well. The Treasury's argument is basically hospitality is already under pressure. It didn't get back to normal after COVID. A lot of people changed their sort of habits permanently, really, with COVID in terms of going out. And of course, they put up national insurance on employers. That's hitting hospitality particularly hard. So the Treasury do not want to go there, but a fair few local leaders and Angela Rayner think that they should. It's worth just saying Wales and Scotland are bringing this in. This is coming in Wales and Scotland.
Yeah, and it works. I mean, it works all over the world. Barcelona, Lisbon, Venice, Amsterdam, they all do that. I don't mind paying £1 a night if I want to go somewhere really lovely on holiday. But Dorset, they're saying that the hospitality industry could some £600,000 a year and lose them business. So there is the financial argument to it on both sides. Yeah, it's difficult. So Wales are going to be bringing in a hotel charge soon. Edinburgh and Glasgow are going to be bringing in 5% if you stay in a hotel in the next year or two. So, arguments on both sides, but it's rather embarrassing, I think, for Rachel Reeves.
OK, thank you, Catherine. Well, still ahead, the British Medical Association is warning you that it won't be safe at the hospitals due to the upcoming strike action. Could that be stopped? This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News, and now it's time for your weather.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. We're going to see further outbreaks of rain and showers during the rest of the day, but some sunny spells will develop, particularly towards the south and later on the west. Initially, we do have an area of cloud and outbreaks of rain continuing across parts of western Scotland into northern England. That's going to gradually turn more patchy as we go through the morning and into the afternoon. Elsewhere, showers could pop up just about anywhere, but the heaviest downpours will be across eastern parts of the UK with some rumbles of thunder. In between the showers, some sunny spells and feeling pleasant enough in the sunshine, low to mid-20s in the south, high teens, low 20s further north. Then any showers that do form tend to fizzle away gradually overnight, although a few will be slow to clear across eastern parts of the country, and it stays damp in western Scotland. Reasonably mild overnight with a lot of cloud cover, and as you can see, some showers continuing into the evening for Northern Ireland. 18 Celsius there for Belfast. Similar temperatures across much of Wales and across southern parts of England. Some decent sunny spells, although I think at this stage we're going to see another batch of showers arriving into Cornwall and Devon. They'll move through overnight. But all in all, fewer showers overnight compared with the daytime, and with some clear spells about, well, temperatures will dip gradually to the mid-teens generally, although some spots holding up at 16 or 17 Celsius. Some mistiness around northern and eastern coasts. As we start off Wednesday, a real mixture of weather across the UK. Outbreaks of rain across parts of southern Scotland into northern England. That tends to drift southwards. Showers tending to pop up elsewhere, initially across southern parts of England, and then the focus for showers shifts east into the afternoon, with it turning drier towards the southwest and some decent sunny spells developing. Once again, feeling warm under any sunny spells.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A701 northbound remains closed at Bloomfield roundabout for ongoing emergency works, with a diversion in place and longer journey times expected. The M60 clockwise at junction 15 has a traffic collision closing one lane, causing 40-minute delays. In Staffordshire, congestion on the A50 eastbound between the A522 and A518 causes 10-minute delays. In Hampshire, the M3 westbound between junctions 5 and 6 faces disruption due to a collision, with 2 lanes closed and 1-hour delays. And on the trains, Hull Trains operates reduced services due to industrial action. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
It's 10 a.m. on Tuesday, the 22nd of July, live across the United Kingdom. This is Britain's Newsroom with Charlie Peters and Dawn Neeson.
Yeah, your story's coming up. Migrant gang sanctions. People smugglers face having their assets frozen and being banned from Britain as the government keeps trying to smash those gangs. Meanwhile...
You are a human trafficker, aren't you?
Are there?
Yes. Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? So if you have a look quickly, just quickly, right?
It's Patrick Christie's in Calais. He's challenged people smugglers at the heart of the small boats crisis. You have to see his report.
It is a cracker. Meanwhile, Prince George, second in line to the throne, turns 12 today. And Kensington Palace have just released this photo. See it on your screens there. A big happy birthday from all at GB News.
And there's a tourist tax tiff on the front bench because Angela Rayner wants to cash in on Britain's tourism industry, but Chancellor Rachel Reeves has opposed the idea. She dismissed the notion of that tax and that rift this morning.
I made decisions around taxation, and we made decisions in last year's budget. That was a once-in-a-generation budget.
While Conservative Party leader Kemi Badenoch is reshuffling her shadow cabinet today. We'll keep you up to date with all the changes.
Who runs Britain? No, I mean, who really runs Britain? Where are our laws decided upon?
Well, the former Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, she'll be joining us later this hour to discuss her plan of how Britain could quit the European Convention on Human Rights.
And the Royal Welsh Show is underway as farmers share their challenges after the government changed inheritance tax for family farms.
Over 200,000 people are expected here at the Royal Welsh Show over the next 3 days, and we'll be hearing from those farmers about the challenges their industry faces.
First prize to GBNews. We might be the favourite, but we have to be at our very, very best to win the game.
England ladies boss Serena Wiegmann is hoping her team can beat Italy in the Euro semi-final tonight. Come on, girls.
Suella Braverman in later this hour. Really looking forward to
in the studio.
That one. In the studio.
Actually, in the studio,
yes.
Yeah. It's an exclusive. You don't want to miss it because you know how straight-speaking she is. I know it's unusual for a politician, but she is. So we're going to talk to her about all the things. So if you want, actually get your questions coming in.
Please.
That's a really good idea. We know what we're going to ask her, but we also want to know what you want to know.
I'm still making up my mind, and because she is so straight-talking, you have the great joy of being able to challenge her very strongly.
Yes.
And you know that, of course, she's a politician, doesn't take it personally, she'll push back. And so let us know, what do you think Suella Braverman needs to be challenged on? She's now saying that it's a matter of how, not when it comes to leaving the ECHR. And also she said a few comments about this Epping violence,
yes.
the unrest about those migrant hotels. We'd be very keen to hear your view on that.
And one
as
of
well.
you have already been in touch, sorry, I've forgotten your name already, my lovely, but about our, the migrants coming to a hotel near you in Waterlooville, and you're very worried about that situation. So we will be putting all of these to Suella.
It's her constituency, of course.
Yes, exactly. So get involved at gbnews.com/your say, because your views are important to us, and they will be important to Suella as well.
Absolutely. So before we go speak to her and get in touch with all of our other stories we're covering in the programme, let's get an update on the news with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you very much and good morning to you. Our top stories. Police have confirmed the body found in a lake in Cheshire on Monday is that of the missing mother Rachel Booth. The 38-year-old was last seen on CCTV at a petrol station in the early hours of Saturday morning. Her body was found in a lake near a popular beauty spot in the Oakmere area of Delamere. Police say Rachel's family are being supported by specialist officers. Gang leaders, corrupt police and those selling small boat equipment for channel crossings face having their assets frozen and a travel ban in efforts to curb the people smuggling trade. The government will introduce their raft of sanctions this week, targeting anyone involved in assisting illegal immigration to the UK. The first wave of sanctions will come into force tomorrow and will publicly name anyone sanctioned and make it illegal for UK businesses to deal with them. It follows legislation being introduced to ramp up enforcement powers to investigate and prosecute people smugglers. Britain's joined 27 other countries in accusing Israel of drip-feeding aid to starving Palestinians in Gaza. A joint statement is demanding Israel lift restrictions on the flow of aid and bring an immediate end to the war, saying the suffering of civilians has reached new depths. At least 85 people were killed on Sunday trying to access vital supplies. Home Secretary David Lammy described the distribution system run by the US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation as grotesque. The UN Secretary-General, Antonio Guterres, has condemned the accelerating breakdown of humanitarian conditions.
Over the weekend in Gaza, we saw yet more mass shootings and killings of people seeking UN aid for their families. An atrocious and inhumane act which I utterly condemn. We need an immediate ceasefire in Gaza.
The World Health Organization is demanding Israel release a member of staff it says it was seized by troops during an offensive in central Gaza. The UN agency says the Israeli military attacked its main warehouse and staff quarters in the city of Deir al-Balah on Monday. The WHO says the airstrikes caused a fire and that its male staff were stripped and searched. It says Israel's new ground offensive has compromised its efforts to continue working in the territory. No comment yet from the Israeli military. At least 12 Palestinians are understood to have been killed so far on Tuesday. Ministers are to make substantial changes to compensation for victims of the infected blood scandal. It means more people will qualify and some will be able to claim higher payments. Around 30,000 people were infected with HIV, hepatitis B or C across 2 decades up to the early 90s after being given contaminated products on the NHS. A report published 2 weeks ago was highly critical of the current system, saying victims had been further harmed by failures in the compensation scheme. One of the most advanced artificial intelligence companies has signed a deal with the government to explore the use of AI in the UK's public services. The agreement could give OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, access to government data and the software the UK uses for education, defence, security and justice. The government has already struck similar deals with OpenAI's rivals Google and Anthropic this year as it attempts to boost the economy. Although critics say it could leave the public sector dependent on private technology and harder to regulate. Tony Blair was advised to delay the invasion of the Iraq War, according to newly released government files. The documents from the National Archives revealed how officials warned the then Prime Minister that George W. Bush was impatient for military intervention. Blair travelled to the US in an effort to persuade Bush to wait for evidence of weapons of mass destruction or a UN resolution to authorise an invasion. He was told George Bush sees his mission as ridding the world of evildoers, believing American values should be universal values. And it's happy birthday to Prince George, who celebrates his 12th birthday today. Kensington Palace have released a photograph to mark the occasion. The eldest child of Prince William and Princess Catherine is second in line to the throne. Questions now turn to which school he might attend next year. Amid rumours, the Wales could choose Marlborough over Eton. There's your headlines. More from me at 10:30.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello, welcome back. This is Britain's Newsroom, live across the United Kingdom on GB News with Charlie Peters and Dawn Neeson.
Yes, and you, of course, because you're the most important part of the show. It's not about us. And lots of you are getting in touch, gbnews.com/your say. And Andy says, Britain is the problem. Greece, now this is an interesting point, lots of you are mentioning this. Britain is the problem when we're talking about migrants coming over and how to stop them. Greece has the answer, which everybody in this country has been screaming about for years. Just do it. Deport or jail. And in Greece, which are part of the ECHR and part of the EU, do seem to have solved the problem with their borders, but we can't. So we will be putting that question to Suella later on.
They've suspended asylum processing for people arriving from North Africa because they've just been absolutely flooded on that side. It's caused so many dramas for them. Obviously, Kaz Smith asking the question that I think Suella's probably asking herself every day. Will you join Reform? Will she stand as a candidate? I'm sure she'll be expecting that question, but Kaz, rest assured, we will be answering.
Lots of people
that one, yeah.
Lots of people are mentioning that husband's just left, so that'll be interesting conversations around the dinner table if that does actually happen. And Jack, you've got an interesting point as well, going from the Trump playbook, if you like. The boats come from France. 100% tariff on French cars will stop the boats. How many boats would arrive this week if Trump was in number 10? The answer is 0. Got a bit of a point. Might be slightly difficult, though. It's not quite as easy dealing with France like that, is it? When you're us. America can do what they want, basically, can't they? We are. But we were putting all these questions to Suella later on as well. So do keep them coming in. gbnews.com/your say.
And on that theme, the government is launching a major crackdown on people smugglers because under new plans announced by the Foreign Secretary, those involved in assisting and organising illegal immigration to Britain will face having their assets frozen and travel banned. But will it get any results?
Well, joining us now is GB News political editor, the wonderful Christopher Hope.
Dawn, welcome, and hello there to you too, Charlie. Welcome to our operation here in Parliament. Before I get to the announcement here from the government, I'm going through my WhatsApps very quickly. We're seeing, I think, the shadow cabinet reshuffle is now taking place. Now, nothing confirmed from the party yet, but it's rumoured at the moment that Julia Lopez is replacing Stuart Andrew as Shadow Culture Secretary, and that John Glenn, a former Treasury Minister, is possibly going in as a PPS, a parliamentary aide to Kemi Badenoch. I understand from sources that Stuart Andrew quit as the Shadow Culture Secretary and wasn't moved by the leader. So it's all happening here. We'll get more information as we do. This is a kind of a classic reshuffle of a front bench team going into a summer break. Often party leaders like to do it about now. It means that the new person in those roles can read into it during the 6-week summer holiday the MPs get.
Christopher, I mean, I'm not a brilliant political commentator like you are, but forgive me, I'm just going, who?
Yeah.
Sorry?
They're not the headline names, are they, Chris?
What difference does any of that make?
Dawn, thank you for saying that. Yes, you are right to say that, of course, that they are not well-known people. But in a sense, this is what you do in opposition. You try and put different names in different roles, see what fits, make a noise. And you do know, of course, who Robert Jenrick is. He's made a lot of noise by taking on issues and campaigning on things like people dodging fares on the London Underground and becoming an issue-led politician. You're looking on screen now at images of Kemi Badenoch. We know who she is. She's a leader of the opposition. But what she's trying to do is move people around her team to make the most impact after 8 months as leader. We know that Sir James Cleverly, who narrowly lost out in the leadership contest last year, he's back into the shadow cabinet team. We'll wait and see what role he gets. But yeah, it's very hard. You've got to make noise if you're in the opposition. All the focus, attention is on the government. They have all the power, all the money, all the tax-raising ability. They are doing stuff. The Tories simply have ideas to talk about, and that's why you have to try and find the most interesting people. We might learn more about Julia Lopez if she becomes the Shadow Culture Secretary, as sources are telling us. But as I say, no confirming here yet from the party itself. And of course, we wait for the final list to emerge later this afternoon.
Chris, let's go back to this issue being pushed forward by the government today, these new plans, these new sanctions. We're hearing that they're going to be targeting this sanctions regime at people smugglers right across the world. There are a couple dozen of suspects involved, but how many of them are actually banking in Britain? What sort of impact can they hope to have on that front?
Charlie, great question, of course, and that's right. I mean, I think it's as many as, well, I think it was 12 individuals being sanctioned. They will have assets here frozen and banned from travelling to the UK. The problem is if they're overseas and they're just putting migrants into boats and then pushing them off from the coast of France towards the UK, do they care if they can't come to the UK themselves and if they're sanctioned? We are told by the government it will hit dinghy suppliers and those who source fake passports and facilitate facilitating payments. It's meant to affect smugglers, a broad sweep of countries, and the government says, according to sources, they want it to affect the reputational and psychological impact on these individuals. So that's what they're thinking about it. But as you say, if they don't intend to come here, they can sit pretty overseas and simply just be hoovering up the money from these people paying thousands of pounds to cross the English Channel. So whether it actually affects them, makes life difficult for them, we'll wait and see. What I do find interesting, though, Charlie and Dawn, is the fact that the Foreign Office is now getting involved. This shows to me there's an all-department attention on this project and tackling small boats. We're now looking at Patrick Christis, our colleague, last night in a migrant camp in Calais, taking on the people smugglers for himself, doing arguably what the French police don't appear to want to do. He's going in there and challenging them, and great reporting it is too. What is interesting, though, is that you've got the Foreign Office involved, you've got the Home Office involved. We know, of course, some elements of the security services are also assisting this. The MOD is involved to a degree with some of their vessels being used, we understand. So it looks to me like there's a whole government approach towards tackling this. Keir Starmer knows he's got to stop these boats, smash the gangs, do what he said he'd do at the last election, or he'll suffer big time at the next election in 2028 or 2029.
OK, Christopher, just rewind a bit there. This is going to affect them psychologically. I'm sorry, I don't give a monkeys about how they feel psychologically. They are criminals. People that are involved in this are criminals. Do we care how they feel psychologically? And because they're criminals, are they going to care about being a little bit upset? Why don't we just stop the blooming boats, smashing the gangs, freezing the assets? How the hell do we freeze a bank account in Baghdad?
Well, quite. This is what they're pulling the levers they've got. They won't go for the full lever, of course, which is leaving the European Convention on Human Rights. That is a policy pushed by the Reform UK Party, elements in the Tory Party, but not yet Kemi Badenoch, at least not until the party conference. So they're doing what they can within the legal construct they're working in. While I'm on air to you, I've got to bring you the news that Ed Arga has quit as the Shadow Health Secretary. There's an exchange of letters being published by Kemi Badenoch on her Twitter feed right now. He's not very well, and Kemi Badenoch is wishing him all the best for a speedy recovery, and that is what has led to this point of having a reshuffle. So Edward Arga, the Shadow Health Secretary, confirmed to have stood down to look after his health, and that is kick-started this shadow cabinet reshuffle. Again, we are hearing, but not confirmed, that Julia Lopez has gone in for Stuart Andrew as Shadow Culture Secretary.
And Chris, Ed Arga standing down there. Any indication of who might replace him? You've mentioned that he's been quite unwell. So Wes Streeting operating, in effect, with quite a limited opposition from his Tory opposite. Any indication on who might step into that role now?
No, not yet, and I wonder who it might be. We know, of course, who's in the mix. Well, Sir James Cleverly could go there. He, of course, is a pugnacious, a fighter, a former deputy mayor to Boris Johnson. It could be him, although he made a speech about the environment recently, and I wondered whether he may be going to environment if Victoria Atkins, is moved from that role. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, I think it's an important role to have. The most money, all that tax raising we saw last October from the government, a lot of it, a big chunk of it, is spent on the NHS, and it's vital, I think, that spending is challenged. We want to see productivity improving in the NHS. For the bang for the buck for the taxpayers got to be strong, and that's why it's very important that Wes Streeting has an energetic opponent on the Tory benches.
All right, Chris Hope, thank you so much. I wonder, Dawn, just very quickly on this Tory reshuffle, they're bringing back a lot of faces sort of tainted with the 14 years they're trying to escape.
That's a slight problem, isn't it? I mean, at the moment, we've always got, the government, anytime anyone thinks he said, well, 14 years, you didn't do anything. You bring those names back in, it's going to be even more. Absolutely. 14 years, you definitely didn't do anything.
Obviously, they didn't win many seats last year, but there is plenty of fresh talent on those backbenches they could be using. But
yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see. We'll keep you updated on all of those changes as and when we know the full details. Right, a Home Office spokesman has said, we all want to end the dangerous small boat crossings, which fuel organised and criminal activity, put vulnerable lives at risk and undermine the security of our borders. We are determined to tackle the gangs behind that trade, and our law enforcement agency have delivered dozens of high-impact disruptions against them in the past year.
Right, there's just 2 weeks left of our current Great British giveaway. It's your chance to win You know this number by now,
Come
I'm
on.
sure. £54,321.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You don't know that song either, do you?
I'm not that. No, it's tax-free cash.
Could be yours.
Here
Here's
are all
Ada.
the details you need.
You don't know that.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you can win our biggest cash prize so far. £54,321 in tax-free cash is up for grabs in our summer Great British giveaway. Cash to spend on anything you like. All of that cash could send you on a holiday, boost your savings, or just send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing. Lines close on the 1st of August, so make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Right, that Tory shadow cabinet reshuffle is ongoing, and we're going to play a bit of a game of bingo on Kemi Badenoch's top team as it gets rejigged. Edward Argyle's the first exit, but you won't want to miss this one. You're with Britain's Newsroom only on GB News. See you in a tick.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Tell me now, are you concerned about these driverless cars, Tim, that are going to be put into operation in London by as early as next year?
Well, Uber is preparing to test fully self-driving taxis on London's roads for the first time. By 2026, I have an observation there that if you look at Elon Musk over the last 5 or 6 years, kept promising that there were going to be driverless cars. The norm in America, and it hasn't happened yet. So I'd be very surprised if by 2026 that's actually on the streets of London. I'm more intrigued, though, if they are driverless robotic cars, if they're still going to give you a review. You know, you get your 5 stars at the end if you were a good passenger. Who's going to review how good you are once you're in these cars?
Would you trust it? Would you take one?
I think
I would, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Really?
Would you, Claire?
I know, I'm a bit reticent.
I'm a bit nervous about it.
Yeah, accepting a driverless
I think
car.
what they do eventually is they'll take any joy out of driving that there is. You get you won't get in, you feel the smell, get the gear stick. You know, I mean, a car is a great joyous thing
I don't take any joy from
to drive.
Yeah.
I take no joy. It's awful.
What?
Such a chore.
Is that because
driving.
Are you a good driver?
No, I'm a terrible
well, that's
driver.
why.
So maybe this could be a good thing for me.
I think it's
I need
the
to see the other
drivers
side of
that take the joy out of it sometimes.
Oh, I just think, you imagine a glitch in the Matrix with a driverless car.
Oh,
what
I
on
know.
earth
You'd have
could
to hop in
happen?
the
Well,
front
you and I
seat.
live in Chiswick,
Yeah.
and the Chiswick High Road, like lots of high roads in many towns and villages.
Well, it's the bus
across...
lanes that's a problem with
Well, they've
Chiswick High
closed
Road.
all those down now, and if an ambulance goes down there, it's carnage trying to get through to whoever they're needing to treat.
Or in King
So
Street,
it's
if a bus
dangerous.
tries to overtake a bus or anything else, you can't do it.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. It's 24 minutes past 10. This is Britain's Newsroom with Charlie Peters and Dawn Newsome. And what are we doing now, Dawn?
We are actually going through all your newspapers today with the wonderful Judita De Silva and Piers Pottinger, and they are in the studio.
Are we going through the papers? I think we're playing bingo, aren't we?
Well, we are, yeah, but I mean, we are. It's part of the paper review.
It's paper bingo.
Don't frighten them. I mean, Judita is like, oh my God, it's a combination. We've got something different today, right? We are actually playing because in honour of the Shadow Cabinet reshuffle, we are doing Shadow Cabinet bingo. How's it working, Charlie?
Well,
we don't know 'cause we're making
we are going to put up some pictures on the screen, and we're going to ask our panel, and indeed you at home, who are they? Because they've been around for a while, the Shadow Cabinet. They're not necessarily getting the cut through that they would have hoped for. I have to say, going through the list this morning, there are a few names there that I didn't recognise. I don't consider myself a political reporter, but it was a bit of a struggle.
No.
And Judita, Piers, you've got buzzers at the ready,
Yes,
so...
I will lose this. I will lose.
No, let's not talk ourselves down before we've even started.
Judita,
it's all about self-confidence.
Judita, you're not alone. Smile and pretend that I know.
Can we have our first picture, please? This is... To your right, you have a photo there, Judita. Who's that? Buzzers at the ready? Any idea? This is brilliant. 3, 2, 1, no answer. That's James Cartledge. He's the Shadow Secretary of State for Defence. He's the Shadow Defence Minister. In a year when Britain is dealing with the crisis in the Middle East, a war in Eastern Europe, who is the Shadow Defence Minister? James Cartledge, apparently.
He's obviously doing a cracking job there.
OK, so it's something 0-0 between you two.
He flies under the radar.
Well, which is a defence minister, probably a good thing. See, that's why.
Let's have our next photo, please. Who's this? Looking right.
Ooh.
Buzzers. Piers.
I think that's Alan Mack.
And Alan Mack's role is?
I don't know.
You've got half a point, Piers. Half a point. He's the Shadow Secretary of State for Science, Innovation and Technology. Also a man who flies under radars, it seems.
Yes.
Well, they mostly do. That's their problem.
Yes. OK, the next one.
Next one, please.
Oh, my gosh.
Go on, Judita, I believe in you. Famous face, that. Go on, Piers.
That's Victoria Atkins.
Correct, and she is?
I think on the way out.
Right, OK. Any ideas, Judita?
What's her job? It's a big one. She's the Shadow Minister for the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs in the year of the farmers' protest.
In my defence, I never concern myself with the Tories.
You don't?
I don't.
OK, well, the Tories are trying to concern
Very few people do, actually, Judita.
Next photo, please.
Problem.
Now, this man is something of a philosopher, a thinking politician.
Yeah, I know. That's Jesse Norman.
But do you know his job?
Is he Shadow Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster?
No, he's not. He's the Shadow Leader of the House of Commons.
Right.
I mean, the question was, does he know his job? I mean, that's the thing. OK, and coming up next, we have... Ooh.
But I think that's the same photo of the last guy, isn't it?
They do look remarkably similar. Who's this one, then?
Is this no answer from both?
He looks like someone who served me at Fortnum and Mason the other day.
Well, his surname is food-related.
Yeah.
I thought Bacon then.
And his job is bus-related.
He's sizzling, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Absolutely sizzling.
He's Shadow Secretary of State for Transport.
Of course.
In a year of
another one
strikes.
making a huge impression.
And then there's one more here, Judita. Come on, last chance.
I'm not going to get any of them. Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's Stuart Andrew, and I think he's the one on his way out.
Correct.
Because he's not well,
He is not going to be the Shadow Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport.
Yeah.
So, OK, well, I think having gone through that, we can all agree...
Well done, that was a resounding success.
We don't know who any of them are.
Congratulations, Conservative Party. You're doing a cracking job with getting that message home there.
People at home...
No impression at all.
No. GBNews.com/your say, how did you get on with that? Well, let's move on, though, shall we? Let's go
We can get one story in, can we?
Let's go to the front page of the FT, shall we, Piers? Because Britain's to be charged by Brussels for sales won via a £150 billion Euros weapons fund.
This is called the SAFE Fund, which is Security Action for Europe. And this was a fund created by the EU, which is supposed to bring the EU together, including other countries from outside. And Starmer made a great song and dance about joining this and how it was going to create jobs for BAE, particularly, and other defence companies in this country. But, of course, what he didn't say is, in order to be part of this fund that's been created, we have to pay. And it's not a small amount. It's going to be billions. And of course, the French want us to pay an enormous amount. Germany is being less aggressive, but we are going to end up paying billions. Now, when you add up all this money we're paying the EU in different areas that Starmer hasn't sort of quite come clean about, we're ending up paying the EU billions and billions of pounds. For example, for the one-in, one-out scheme, we're going to have to pay for that. And that hasn't actually been approved by the EU yet, which it has to be by all countries. We're going to be paying billions that, again, we don't have. So Rachel Reeves, I'm sure, will be calling or texting 63225 wanting to win your cash prize.
Excellent.
In order to pay
That'll
for
make
all
a small
this.
dent.
As long as she can sing it. Judita, let's move on to money still in this subject. This is The Sun. Work longer and get less pension.
Yeah, so they're going to be doing a pensions review. It's normally done every 6 years. The last one was 2023, and this one the results will come through by 2029, and that's by Work and Pension Secretary Liz Kendall, because she's said something that pretty much across both sides everyone is concerned about, that pensioners are not able to save towards retirement because the cost of living crisis is hitting everyone so hard. They don't have that much disposable income. So, and also you've got a population that is healthier, that's living for longer. So the pensioner qualification age is going to be an expanded population with limited resources. So they might have to look to raising the pension age. First it was 65, then it was raised to 66. It could go as high as 70, but that's something that will be confirmed in 2029. But even Nigel Farage has said that we do need to look at pensions because as people get older, they don't have the money to look after themselves in retirement. But you have to look at both state pension and private pensions.
Is it time to get rid of that triple lock, Piers?
It inevitably will go, I'm afraid.
It's feel inevitable from my generation's
Well,
perspective.
it has. I mean, the point is the demographic shift is changing and has changed. But again, like almost every other area, we haven't got anyone who's thinking far ahead, planning for the future in this country. And that's what we lack in every department, people of vision, people planning for the future. When it comes to things like water, for example, I mean, we had in Victorian times the marvellous Bazalgette who created the sewage system in London, which is still being used.
Very much.
But where are these people today?
Sure.
Nowhere. Yeah. And that's what this country lacks.
Judy, let's go very quickly to this story in the Times. It's those great periods where the National Archives go back another 20 years, and there's another great one that they've uncovered about Tony Blair's freebies with free clothes to him and his wife.
Yeah, so the assistant that helped with his styling and lifestyle, she'd managed to negotiate discounts of up to 60% with Nicole Farey and Paul Smith. And he hasn't actually done anything wrong, but it kind of goes to what happened with Keir Starmer, that even the semblance of impropriety is bad enough. So he was advised to pay up over £7,600 for the discounts he got because the discounts were so exorbitant. It was more than what he actually spent on the items.
£50,000 in discounts. I mean, that's a fair wardrobe there.
Bought them at wholesale as the sort of justification given. And what's great about these archives is you get to see, I mean, I've done one of these press days before, you get to see the politicians writing little notes on top of the letters they're given by their assistants. So one of them about Sir Tony's wife, about the freebies she got as well.
Yeah.
At the top it says, "Talk to me later," full stop.
Yeah.
Him
almost
trying
like
to...
a teacher, isn't it? See me later.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, of course, Messrs Farey and Smith both got honours.
Well, there we go.
Yes,
and one wonders it reminds one of the Ganex raincoat man getting a peerage from Harold Wilson.
But you also have to know about, as well as her buying wholesale, it's a trade-off, even up to like A-listers. Put your clothes on me, and people knowing that this level of person wears your clothes, you sell more items.
Yeah.
So it is a trade-off.
Charlie does this every single day. I just like to point it out. Yeah, you can tell, obviously. We'll be talking about your shoes later on as well, won't we? Took me a little thing about how he shines his shoes. OK, Judita and Piers, thank you so much. We'll see you in the next hour.
Right, let's go on to our 60-second news update with the one and only Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you very much indeed. Good morning to you. The government is to impose sanctions on people who help migrants come to the UK. The measures will target gang leaders, corrupt police officers, companies selling small boat equipment, and those helping to facilitate money transfers. So James Cleverly is expected to make a return to frontline politics as Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch is set to reshuffle her shadow cabinet. He previously served in government as the Foreign Secretary and the Home Secretary. Police have confirmed the body found at a lake in Cheshire on Monday is that of the missing mother, Rachel Booth. The 38-year-old was last seen on CCTV at a petrol station in the early hours of Saturday morning. Britain's joined 27 other countries in accusing Israel of drip-feeding aid to starving Palestinians in Gaza. A joint statement is demanding Israel immediately lift its blockade of food and bring an end to the war. Israel's rejected the criticism as being disconnected from reality. And the government signed a deal with OpenAI to explore use of its advanced systems in areas like justice, security and education. The wide-ranging agreement with the firm behind ChatGPT comes after a similar deal was signed with Google. Those are the headlines. A full bulletin coming up for you at 11 o'clock.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Right, coming up next, it's a GB News exclusive because we can reveal that supporters of a highly controversial plan to set appropriate limits to free speech about Muslims have been given up to £2.6 million by the government to police and monitor Islamophobia. Don't miss it. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. We're going to see further outbreaks of rain and showers during the rest of the day, but some sunny spells will develop, particularly towards the south and later on the west. Initially, we do have an area of cloud and outbreaks of rain continuing across parts of western Scotland into northern England. That's going to gradually turn more patchy as we go through the morning and into the afternoon. Elsewhere, showers could pop up just about anywhere, but the heaviest downpours will be across eastern parts of the UK with some rumbles of thunder. In between the showers, some sunny spells and feeling pleasant enough in the sunshine, low to mid-20s in the south, high teens, low 20s further north. Then any showers that do form tend to fizzle away gradually overnight, although a few will be slow to clear across eastern parts of the country, and it stays damp in western Scotland. Reasonably mild overnight with a lot of cloud cover, and as you can see, some showers continuing into the evening for Northern Ireland. 18 Celsius there for Belfast. Similar temperatures across much of Wales and across southern parts of England. Some decent sunny spells, although I think at this stage we're going to see another batch of showers arriving into Cornwall and Devon. They'll move through overnight, but all in all, fewer showers overnight compared with the daytime, and with some clear spells about, well, temperatures will dip gradually to the mid-teens generally, although some spots holding up at 16 or 17 Celsius. Some mistiness around northern and eastern coasts. As we start off Wednesday, a real mixture of weather across the UK. Outbreaks of rain across parts of southern Scotland into northern England. That tends to drift southwards. Showers tending to pop up elsewhere, initially across southern parts of England, and then the focus for showers shifts east into the afternoon, with it turning drier towards the southwest and some decent sunny spells developing. Once again, feeling warm under any sunny spells.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A701 northbound is currently closed around the Bloomfield roundabout due to vital emergency works being carried out by the Scottish Gas Networks, necessitating immediate action. Motorists are strongly advised to follow the clearly signed alternative routes now in place. Additionally, an accident has resulted in the temporary closure of the A40 between Manodelo and Landilo, prompting more diversions to be implemented for safety. On the train networks, services operated by both Hull Trains and Island Line are experiencing significantly reduced schedules due to ongoing industrial action. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Hello, welcome back. It is 10:39 and this is Britain's Newsroom with Dawn and Charlie.
Go on then, Dawn.
OK, right. Oh, right. Okay. Part-time now, are we? OK. Supporters of a highly controversial plan to set appropriate limits to free speech about Muslims have been given up to £2.6 million of your money by the government to police and monitor Islamophobia. British Muslim Trust has been awarded a £1 million a year contract by ministers to combat hate against Muslims. The Trust, which only launched its website today, replaces the group Tell Mama, which had done the job for the past 13 years, but withdrew after what it called a smear campaign against it by Islamists. OK, Charlie, this is your story. You're all over this one. You are an expert on this. What's going on here?
Well, this fund that the government's putting forward to tackle anti-Muslim hate is attracting a bit of controversy. This group, the British Muslim Trust, only launched yesterday. However, its upcoming CEO is also on the government's independent working group for assessing and generating this definition of Islamophobia. So you have this potential conflict of interest here, Dawn, where someone who's working to tackle Islamophobia or anti-Muslim hate is also working on the definition for the government at the same time. Just 5 people on that working group, so a very key part of it. And also, we've revealed today that one of the groups that's been setting up this British Muslim Trust, the Aziz Foundation, they put out a post a few years ago saying that the Prevent programme, which is the government's counter-extremism programme, they said that it actively harms Muslims. So we are now in quite a tricky scenario where this new group, for dealing with anti-Muslim hate, also thinks that the counter-extremism programme, the Prevent strategy, is harmful towards Muslims, which you can imagine I had quite a lot of concern about last night when I was gathering the story.
Well, because it all links back to your amazing body of work on the grooming gangs and the fact that we would be unable to talk about that story if some of the suggestions being put forward here as a definition of Islamophobia were to come into being, we'd find it even harder to talk about that subject.
That's right. And if those definitions come forward and the Aziz Foundation, the group that said that it actively harms Muslims, to Prevent policy, they also funded the APPG for British Muslims when they put forward their own definition of Islamophobia, which did put grooming gangs in inverted commas. They said grooming gangs are a form of sort of discussing that as a form of anti-Muslim hate. So it's all very controversial, but let's hopefully get a bit more information.
It sounds like it's being set up with an agenda they've already got, and it's a closed group of people, all with very heavily vested interests, who already know what they're going to say in any case. So what's the point? Why don't you just sort of like, this is what we've decided without even having, a meeting about an inquiry about it?
Well, Tory MP Nick Timothy told me yesterday that the appointment of this organisation, he said it was deeply worrying. He also said that Akila Ahmed, the person who's on that independent working group and is going to be the CEO, that potential conflict of interest, he said that was a clear conflict of interest. But let's get some reaction now from the founder of Tell Mama, Fiaz Mughal, who joins us down the line. Fiaz, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, your organisation used to have this work. What's your reaction to the new organisation running it?
My reaction is, let me just start off by saying that for 13, 14 years, the work was done effectively, and we managed to gain a lot of respect from all parts of the political spectrum. Because actually we looked at the facts and we looked at monitoring anti-Muslim hate, not Islamophobia, not this wide kind of nebulous word. So we were very specific, we built trust in the work, and we did that. And so for us, it was a real question mark as of about a year ago, why this Labour government all of a sudden were treating Tell Mama staff badly, not keeping them informed, not having a meeting more than 4 months after they got into power, and then telling Tell Mama effectively, oh, we're not sure what to do. And so there was a pre-plan already laid out with the Labour government coming in. Now, they offered Tell Mama £500,000 more, but because Tell Mama was not fully assured by the way it had been treated, was not fully assured around sustainability, and because the government also tried to, in its grant funding agreement, take over the workings of Tell Mama, let me make that very clear. In their grant funding agreement, Labour does what it always does. Let's take over this. let's take the information and give it to somebody maybe more politically inclined to us. And so Tamama had no confidence, turned down the money, and we're now in this position where they've given it to effectively a dormant company. The British Muslim Trust, let's be clear, is a dormant company, has filed dormant accounts for a number of years. My question is this: how can you give over £2 million, which will be about £2.5 million over 3 years, to a dormant company?
Fiaz, let's go to that point about the Prevent programme, with the Aziz Foundation saying that it actively harms Muslims. Is that your reading? Could that push away many moderate Muslims who want to engage with this group?
Well, the answer is yes. The fact is, look, I'm very clear. I've been actively supporting the Prevent programme because it is for the safety of our nation and the safety of all of us. That's a fact. I know Prevent have stopped families from young people from going to Syria and then thereby causing harm to our international interests or to other people. So this is another thing I don't understand. How can a government give money to organizations that will then be involved in the delivery of this work, who actively challenge a part of the government's own strategy? How can they do that? I mean, this is baffling. So the counter-extremism agenda is central to Yvette Cooper's delivery of counter-extremism work. Yvette Cooper is a robust individual. I know she is really on the Prevent side of the work. How can they bring in an organization that previously has effectively said Prevent is a, quote, problem? How can you how can you basically undermine a part of your own government strategy? How?
Yeah, and Fiaz, just one more thing on this upcoming organisation. We've also heard that concern about how we've got Akila Ahmed involved, how she's both working on generating that Islamophobia definition and also working on looking into Islamophobia. Are you concerned about what that definition could mean for free speech in this country?
Well, first of all, there is a clear conflict of interest with her advising the government and then effectively taking the taxpayer shilling. There is a clear conflict of interest. Again, a simple thing Labour have just overlooked. Let me also say this. Given by Labour's own actions since 2018, when many Labour local authorities accepted the APPG definition on Islamophobia, which actually also listed grooming as little inverted commas, with insinuations there, we have not a great track record of Labour's work and acceptance around definitions on Islamophobia. So there's been no great track record. They've accepted stuff that many of us would challenge and say, hold on, raising issues about grooming is good because it protects vulnerable young women. Yet Labour accepted definitions which were then putting quote marks and making insinuations about grooming that could this be Islamophobia. This is not acceptable. All right, our first and foremost duty is to vulnerable people, and we must raise that. If vulnerable young girls are affected, we must raise that and make sure we raise that, and that's not Islamophobic. That is our duty to protect vulnerable young people.
Yeah, Fayez, just very quickly, one final question. Is all of this going to be more damaging to relationships between the different faiths in this country?
Yes, it is. Yes, and I've said this consistently. I said this to the Conservative Party regularly when they were in power. We don't need a definition. By doing so, it creates more division. It creates a sense of a two-tier nation. It makes people more apprehensive of Muslims as if they're getting a better deal. I've always said this. I, as a Muslim, don't want a better deal than anyone. I just want to be treated like everybody else.
OK, Fiaz, thank you so much for coming on GB News this morning. We've got a statement here from a Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government spokesperson who said the British Muslim Trust was appointed as the recipient of the Combating Hate Against Muslims Fund following a rigorous and transparent application process in which it was the highest scoring applicant.
Yeah, Akila Ahmed brings a critical expertise and experience in this area and commitment to improving experiences for Muslim communities. The working group is independent and will provide independent, evidence-based advice to ministers.
I also have a statement from Akila Ahmed. She told GB News, for too long, anti-Muslim hate has been under-recognised and under-reported. The Trust exists to change that by listening to communities, amplifying their voices and working with partners across society to ensure that no one is left to face hate alone. We are here to stand with victims and help shape a more inclusive, united Britain for all. There you have it. Well, moving on now, if you are in search of some holiday sun, here is the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
It's going to stay sunny across much of southern Europe this week, increasingly hot in Greece, but rather windy at times for Portugal and the Canaries. It's often windy for the Canary Islands at this time of year, but it's even more so for the next few days. Likewise for Portugal. Plenty of sunshine, however, through Iberia, a lot of showers through the Pyrenees and southern France. Italy, largely fine across much of the country, but we've got the heat building in Greece, temperatures inland up to 43 Celsius.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Hello, welcome back. It's the pinnacle event of the British agricultural calendar, and it's the Royal Welsh Show. And our reporter Steve Bennett has all the details for you.
Yes, good morning everyone. It is, as you said, the pinnacle of the agricultural calendar for everybody here in Wales and across the world actually. It tracks everybody from Britain, from Europe. We expect 200,000 people across this four-day event, 7,500 of those taking part in the events. Behind me, judging the cattle, grooming cows, grooming sheep, and we're speaking to some farmers, which hopefully will bring you a little later, where they discuss the real key issues that are facing their industry, things like the inheritance tax we know all about, and how their land is being sold off for solar panels to be rewilded. So hopefully we'll bring that to you a little later on. We'll hear the plight of the farmers and the challenges they're facing across the board in their industry at the moment.
Next, we've got the former Home Secretary, Suella Braverman. She'll be joining us in the studio. We've got plenty of questions to ask her. Many have come from you on your say. This is Britain's Newsroom, only on GB News.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. We're going to see further outbreaks of rain and showers during the rest of the day, but some sunny spells will develop, particularly towards the south and later on the west. Initially, we do have an area of cloud and outbreaks of rain continuing across parts of western Scotland into northern England. That's going to gradually turn more patchy as we go through the morning and into the afternoon. Elsewhere, showers could pop up just about anywhere, but the heaviest downpours will be across eastern parts of the UK with some rumbles of thunder. In between the showers, sunny spells and feeling pleasant enough in the sunshine, low to mid-20s in the south, high teens, low 20s further north. Then any showers that do form tend to fizzle away gradually overnight, although a few will be slow to clear across eastern parts of the country, and it stays damp in western Scotland. Reasonably mild overnight with a lot of cloud cover, and as you can see, some showers continuing into the evening for Northern Ireland. 18 Celsius there for Belfast. Similar temperatures across much of Wales and across southern parts of England. Some decent sunny spells, although I think at this stage we're going to see another batch of showers arriving into Cornwall and Devon. They'll move through overnight, but all in all, fewer showers overnight compared with the daytime, and with some clear spells about, well, temperatures will dip gradually to the mid-teens generally, although some spots holding up at 16 or 17 Celsius. Some mistiness around northern and eastern coasts. As we start off Wednesday, a real mixture of weather across the UK. Outbreaks of rain across parts of southern Scotland into northern England. That tends to drift southwards. Showers tending to pop up elsewhere, initially across southern parts of England, and then the focus for showers shifts east into the afternoon, with it turning drier towards the southwest and some decent sunny spells developing. Once again, feeling warm under any sunny spells.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash, so make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 11 a.m. on Tuesday, the 22nd of July, live across the United Kingdom. This is Britain's Newsroom with Charlie Peters and Dawn Neeson.
Yes, indeed. Your story is this hour. Migrant gang sanctions. People, smugglers face having assets frozen and being banned from Britain as the government keep trying to smash those gangs. Meanwhile...
You are a human trafficker, aren't you?
Are there?
Yes. Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? So if you have a look quickly, just quickly, right?
That's our man, Patrick Christie's. He's challenging people smugglers at the heart of the small boat migrant crisis in Calais. You've got to see his report.
You don't want to miss it, that's for sure.
Who runs Britain? No, I mean, who really runs Britain? Where are our laws decided upon?
And you don't want to miss this either. Conservative MP Suella Braverman joins us in a few minutes to discuss her blueprint to leave the ECHR.
And there's a front bench tourist tax tiff because Angela Rayner wants to cash in on Britain's tourism industry, but Chancellor Rachel Reeves disagrees. She dismissed the notion this morning.
I made decisions around taxation, and we made decisions in last year's budget. That was a once-in-a-generation budget.
While Conservative Party leader Kemi Badenoch is reshuffling her cabinet today. Shadow Secretary of State for Health and Social Care Edward Agar is the first person out.
And Prince George, second in line to the throne. He turns 12 today, and Kensington Palace have released this photo. It's a big happy birthday from all of us at GB News.
Oh. And for the first time in 30 years, the tall ships race heads to Scotland. GB News' Tony Maguire is in Aberdeen.
Yes, it's the first time in 30 years the tall ships have touched down in Aberdeen, and at the end of a spectacular 42 vessels, it's time that they now depart. Behind me, the parade of sail are about to take those ships out to the North Sea.
We might be the favourite, but we have to be at our very, very best to win the game.
And England ladies boss Sarina Wiegman is hoping her team can beat Italy in the Euro semi-final tonight. We are backing the Lionesses.
We are indeed, yes. I'm doing it more than you. But this show is indeed all about you and your views. So let us know what you're thinking on all the stories we are discussing today, from the migrant crisis to the football and anything you want to chat about. To be honest with you, really easy to get involved. Just go to gbnews.com/your say. But first, let's get the news headlines with Aaron Armstrong.
Try that again. Good
Good morning to you. Aaron Armstrong here in the GB Newsroom. Our headlines. The government is to impose sanctions on people involved in helping migrants come to the UK, including gang leaders, corrupt police officers and companies selling small boat equipment. The first wave of those sanctions will come into force on Wednesday and will publicly name anyone sanctioned and will make it illegal for UK businesses or banks to deal with them. It follows legislation introduced under the Border Security, Asylum and Immigration Bill to ramp up enforcement powers and investigate and prosecute people smugglers. Sir James Cleverly is expected to make a return to frontline politics as leader of the opposition. Kemi Badenoch reshuffles her shadow cabinet. The former Home Secretary hasn't been on the Conservative front bench since Kemi Badenoch beat the Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick in the party's leadership contest. Police have confirmed the body found in a lake in Cheshire on Monday is that of the missing mother, Rachel Booth. The 38-year-old was last seen on CCTV at a petrol station in the early hours of Saturday morning. Her body was found in a lake near a popular beauty spot in the Oakmere area of Delamere. Police say Rachel's family are being supported by specialist officers. Israel's rejected the criticism of its treatment of civilians in Gaza by the UK and 27 other countries as being disconnected from reality. A joint statement has accused the country's military of unacceptable conduct in Gaza, is demanding Israel lift restrictions on the flow of aid and bring an immediate end to the war. At least 85 people were killed on Sunday trying to access food or other vital supplies. The Home Secretary, David Lammy, has described the distribution system run by a US-backed company as grotesque, and he's condemned the accelerating breakdown of humanitarian conditions.
The global community is coming together, and yesterday's statement of 28 other foreign ministers calling for that aid to get in, calling for this war to come to an end, calling out the sickening scenes we're seeing of children being killed as they wait for food is important. It's important to get the Israeli government to change course.
The World Health Organization is demanding Israel release a member of staff it says was seized by troops during an offensive in central Gaza. The UN agency says the Israeli military attacked its main warehouse and staff quarters in the city of Deir al-Balah on Monday. The WHO says the airstrikes caused a fire and its male staff were stripped and searched. It says Israel's new offensive is compromising its efforts to work in the territory. At least 12 Palestinians have been reported killed so far on Tuesday. Ministers are to make substantial changes to compensation schemes for victims of the infected blood scandal. It means more people will qualify and some will be able to claim higher payments. Around 30,000 people were infected with HIV, hepatitis B or C across 2 decades up to the early 1990s after being given contaminated products on the NHS. A report published 2 weeks ago was highly critical of the current system, saying victims had been harmed further by failures in the compensation scheme. One of the most advanced artificial intelligence companies has signed a deal with the government to explore its use in the UK's public services. The agreement could give OpenAI, that's the company behind ChatGPT, access to government data and the software the UK uses for education, defence, security and the justice system. The government has already struck similar deals with Google and Anthropic this year as it attempts to boost growth in the economy. Although critics say it could leave the public sector dependent on private technology and harder to regulate. The world-famous tall ships race will set sail from Scotland anytime soon after spending a 4-day visit to Aberdeen. The arrival for the festival over the weekend marked the first time Scotland has seen the ships in more than 30 years. They will shortly leave port in the Parade of Sail before heading to Norway. It's estimated to have attracted around 400,000 visitors to the Granite City in Aberdeen. And it is many happy returns to Prince George, who is celebrating his 12th birthday today. Kensington Palace have released this photograph to mark the occasion. The eldest child of Prince William and Princess Catherine is, of course, second in line to the throne. And questions turn to where he may attend school next year. Amid rumours, his family could choose Marlborough over Eton. Those are your headlines. More from me in half an hour.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
My Claim Group sponsors the GB News Finance Report. My Claim Group sponsors the GB News Finance Report.
Hello, welcome back. This is Britain's Newsroom, live across the United Kingdom on GB News with me, Charlie Peters, and Dawn Neeson. We're in for Andrew and Bev.
Yes, well, a cracking final hour coming up for you. GB News has conducted an undercover sting operation aimed at exposing the true scale of Britain's migrant crisis.
Now, as part of the operation, Patrick Christys came face-to-face with the people smugglers organising channel crossings from Calais. Take a look.
We've been given a location to meet a human trafficker, and we are on our way there now. We are 16 minutes away. There's a lot of people. I mean, maybe they're meeting him as well, really. Bear in mind how brazen this guy is, right? So he puts his WhatsApp phone number on TikTok. He's not afraid of the law. He doesn't care. He's not afraid of getting caught. Hello. How are you? Are you okay? You've sent me a location to say I should meet you here.
No speak English.
You don't speak English. It's just you spoke English when you messaged me before, didn't you? They are the human traffickers who are bringing people across. We're going to hand all of this over to the French police and see if anything can be done about it. Another human trafficker has sent me a live location, which is just a few hundred metres down this road. Someone who works with me will come and pick you up, give him 1,500 euros so you can go on this trip. He's also sent a voice note.
Okay, Batra, Habibi, 10 minutes coming, my friend. Okay.
I'm Patrick Christys, I'm from GB News, and you are a human trafficker, aren't you? Yes. Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? You know, when people die in the Channel, do you feel any kind of conscience about that at all? Do you feel bad about that at all? Or not? No? You don't? No? So, all right, we're going to have to get out of here. We just had glass bottles thrown at us. So, that's that. OK, well, yeah, we just had a glass bottles thrown at us, and I think it's probably best if we get out of here. OK. All right. Well, what we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Yeah, we're being pelted by stuff. Get a move on. Fine? OK. OK. Well, last time I was here, no one was filming us back, and there wasn't this kind of level of aggression that we see from some of them.
Well, the Conservative MP for Fareham and Waterloo, Suella Braverman, joins us now. Suella, thank you for coming into the studio this morning. First and foremost, your reaction to what we've just seen there from Patrick, because, of course, it just shows how extensive this scourge is in northern France.
Absolutely. Well, Patrick and GB News deserve a huge amount of credit for busting the myth on the reality of this migrant crisis. It just shows what a farce our asylum system has become. There are violent, organised, serious criminals who are playing our system. They are making a lot of money on the backs of others to get into our country illegally. And it's not true to say that all of these people are vulnerable, persecuted individuals fleeing torture. No, what Patrick and you are all showing is that these are very determined, deliberate, and criminal people who are breaking our laws.
These are violent, aggressive young men. I mean, we know we haven't shown you the full details, but Patrick faced a lot of violence and a lot of personal threats, and is still doing so online. These are the people, the vulnerable young men of fighting age, I know it's a cliche now, but are coming into our country and being put in hotels like the one we've been discussing all week, like the one in Epping. Do you have sympathy for the people in Epping who are protesting outside their hotel?
These are gangsters. That was the word I was looking for. These are gangsters. That's what Patrick has kind of exposed. I do have sympathy for the people protesting. I was looking at the footage. A lot of them are mums and families, dads, children are really furious about what's happening in Epping, but it reflects a concern across the country. People are scared. People have had enough of illegal migrants breaking into our country and harming our women and girls and ruining our communities. And that's not racist. That is honesty.
Because that's the accusation. As soon as you say that we are protecting our women and girls, that's racist to say that.
Yeah, and that is a way to gaslight the British people and shut down the debate. That's what the lefty establishment wants us to do. They want to gag us into silence, but we need to keep standing up and calling out the truth. That's why, as long as it's peaceful, those protests should have the right to express their very legitimate concerns.
Nigel Farage said yesterday that Britain is on the brink of collapse, I think in part because of these protests we're seeing, in particular in Epping. Are you concerned about the level of violence we're seeing there? Have you condemned that? Will you condemn that violence, not just from counter-protesters, but also we've seen people in masks throwing things at the police, some officers injured. Do you fear that could spread across the country?
Well, I think we are living in a bit of a tinderbox at the moment, and what happens is when fury and frustration spill over, people feel they need to take action, and so they will start with peaceful protests. But unfortunately, that can attract people who are not peaceful, and it can attract thugs, and then you get counter-protests, and then you get violence, and then you get an uncontrollable situation when it comes to civil disorder. That's criminal, and the police need to step in. But it's not a very it's not a very big step to take from one to the other. That's why we need to be very, very careful. That's why we need to get a grip on the migrant crisis. People have had enough. They're furious. They're feeling powerless. They're feeling insulted, and they want to take action. They feel like they're being ignored.
OK, so this morning we have heard that the government's latest plan after smashing the gang is now freezing the assets. How do you think that's going to play out with the very angry people we are seeing outside migrant hotels, and will it work?
No, it won't work. It's more tweaking, it's more technocratic, meaningless, blah, 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 as I like to say. It's something for the government to say when an incident happens, so it can look as if it's doing something. But I know GB News viewers won't be fooled by it. Unfortunately, it won't make any difference because this government is unwilling to take the radical and necessary changes which are needed to fix this problem.
And that change, you think, should be leaving the ECHR? Do you now get a sense, Suella, that it's a matter of sort of how, not if, we leave the ECHR? And you've put out this policy paper yesterday. Do you have any confidence that that could be taken on by even your political rivals in the coming years?
Well, you're absolutely right. I don't think it's any longer a question of whether we should leave, because we've been rehearsing that argument for quite a few years. I was the first Conservative minister to call for it publicly in 2022. I was largely vilified for doing so, but even now, 3 years on, it looks like the Conservative Party policy will shift in that direction in the next few months. We need to talk about how, and my paper sets it out. I encourage your viewers to look it up, and it's called How and Why to Leave the ECHR.
Just quickly, within the last few minutes, we've heard from the Foreign Secretary, David Lammy. He's been speaking on the issue of illegal migration and the government's crackdown. We've got a clip we can play you now.
Today, I'm announcing the first sanctions anywhere in the world that goes after those who engage in irregular and illegal migration. It's going after the men in suits that sit behind this evil trade. It's going after those who engage in providing fake passports, those who provide the dinghies, the engines, the enablers, the accountants, the lawyers. And tomorrow, when you see those designations, you will see them span jurisdictions. You will see individuals named, public officials, for example, who behave corruptly to prosecute this trade. We are using our sanction regime and encouraging others in Europe and the G7 to join us to bear down on this illegal trade.
Now, Tony Smith told us that this won't make a jot of difference, former head of Border Force, because many of the people don't actually have any banks in Britain. These sanctions won't really apply to them. And we've just heard David Lammy there referring to the lawyers this will target. It's your contention, isn't it, that actually the lawyers are benefiting from our legal system? This won't make a difference either.
Well, Tony Smith is a good man. I know him and I've benefited from his sage advice in the past. But he's right. This announcement won't make any kind of difference. It's dealing with the symptom rather than the cause of the problem. And these are highly networked, well-resourced and sophisticated smuggling gangs which span jurisdictions and operate in different countries. Very complex networks. They can really... many of them won't have a bank account in UK jurisdictions.
How do you freeze a bank account in Baghdad? I mean, good luck.
Right, exactly. And the fact that, I mean, mentioning the lawyers is interesting. A lot of lawyers, unfortunately, aid and abet this evil trade. They are unscrupulous, unprofessional, and in breach of their professional standards. The regulators should be taking that action against them to strike them off, or they should be enforced against to stop them practising or purporting to be lawyers. But again, a lot of this comes down to actual political will to make sure the enforcement action takes place. And very often there are human rights claims that are used as defences.
Well, I mean, your paper, which is very, very impressive about leaving the ECHR and the power that Brussels still has over the United Kingdom, it's a wonderful piece of work. But however, there are countries that are still in the EU and the ECHR, Greece, Poland, Italy, that seem to be able to protect their borders without the fuss we have over here. So is it a failing of both your government and this current government that we're not standing up to the ECHR and the EU like some other countries are?
Well, there is a bit of a distinction between us and the other countries. We don't just have the ECHR, we also have the Human Rights Act in a way that other countries don't. So that kind of puts rocket boosters on the ECHR's application in the UK. We also have a very activist judiciary. So we have, unfortunately, too many politicised judges in this country who are pro-migrants and they want to allow asylum seekers in. Other countries have that to a lesser degree. But I would also say, largely, other European countries are struggling with their migration crisis. This is a global migration crisis. And when I was Home Secretary, I used to speak to other interior ministers around Europe. They were all struggling and grappling with the same crisis that I was. And, you know, you could look at numbers, but largely no European country has really succeeded. I would say maybe Greece has to a degree, but largely the European Union has failed to curb this migration crisis.
Sorry, at the last hour, we played Name the Shadow Cabinet bingo with our panel. They couldn't name anyone, apart from one perhaps. Is it a bit embarrassing for you that you're having more of an impact with a policy paper than many of your Shadow Cabinet colleagues are managing to do so after a year in their positions? You have to concede a lot of the Tory party hasn't had any cut-through in the last year. What more needs to be done to get that message across?
Listen, there's no denying that the Conservative Party is struggling right now in the polls. We're in third place generally. We're not even reaching 20% in the polls. And if there were a general election tomorrow, our party would do very badly. People are still angry with the Conservative Party. People are not listening to the Conservative Party. So we need to do something that has an impact. I think it's about policy. I think we need to have robust policies that answer the frustrations of people who are taking to the streets in anger and fury and fear. And we need to have bold policies like leaving the ECHR and how to do it with credibility, not just fall into the same trap that we've fallen into over the last 14 years, which is saying things but not meaning them and not delivering them.
This is what people are saying. The messages coming in from people here. I just want to put this one to you, Suella. This is from Jem, who lives in your constituency. She says, please ask Suella about the illegals coming into Waterlooville. She's saying there's been a leak from Havant Council. She is actually, she's a woman, she's worried. She does not want them here. She goes, I'm not racist. I just don't want these undocumented young men coming to my area.
And wow, thank you very much, Jen. Is it Jen?
Jem, yes.
Jem. For writing in, because I, like her, share her fear. And there's been a proposal put forward by the Home Office to accommodate 35 asylum seekers in the heart of Waterlooville. And it would be totally inappropriate for that town because of the lack of resources, the lack of facilities to support these people. It would also, I believe, pose a public safety risk. Havant Borough Council, which is led by Labour and the Lib Dems, failed to object to this proposal. And I've launched a petition in the last few days. In 2 days alone, 7,000 people have signed this petition. We are urging Havant Borough Council to object to the Home Office plans, and I've written to the Home Secretary urging her to withdraw her plans. We have to stand up to this. And I'm urging people to stay calm, but to voice their concerns, and it's not racist to do so.
Just very quickly, so before we leave, last week, Zia Youssef called you a traitor and referred to you and your former cabinet colleague Robert Jenrick in the same way. Have you spoken to figures in reform about that jibe, telling them they need to sort of put a cork in it?
Listen, I mean, everyone's going to have opinions. You know, as far as, you know, Zia Youssef hasn't held public office. He's quite a novice in politics. He's never held any serious role that is involving national security. And all of a sudden, lots of people, particularly online, have become have-a-go experts on a very complex issue of national security. They can throw around puerile insults, but the reality is that, of course, the Afghan leak was a catastrophic mistake by the Ministry of Ministry of Defence, and the last Conservative government. We've got to apologise for that. It should never have happened. However, bearing in mind my own involvement, I make no apology for my actions during that instance. I make no apology for following the terms of a court order. A super injunction was issued. Did I agree with it? No, I think it was too draconian and too extreme, but I had to follow the terms of a court order. I followed the Official Secrets Act, which is not to disclose sensitive information. I don't apologise for that. But more importantly, I make no apology for disclosing sensitive information relating to national security, because if I had done it or anyone else had done it, people would have been killed. British agents, British soldiers would have been put at risk, potentially fatally. Our enemies would have had advantageous information to use against us. And the whole framework underpinning our national security and how sensitive information is controlled would have come crashing down. Anyone with serious experience working with our agents, working with our defence sector and managing sensitive information knows that you cannot just expose sensitive and secret information just because you want to. Parliamentary privilege is definitely a concept. It would be open for me now to go into Parliament today and disclose all of the information that I have been privy to in my career as Home Secretary and Attorney General. I'm not going to do that because people might be killed if I did that. So this is about fine judgment and balancing various factors. I don't make an apology for following the law and making a decision to keep people safe.
OK. So just for, sorry, I know we said we could talk to you all day, so many, but thank you for coming in and being straight talking. We so rarely hear that from politicians. Jem has just been in touch again, or someone responding to Jem's message again. She feels that politicians are putting their political careers now before the safety of British voters, and in particular women and girls. What would you say to them?
I agree. I agree, some politicians. Listen, if the government were serious about fixing this migrant crisis, it would announce today that it was going to pull out of the ECHR, that it was going to detain and deport illegal arrivals, that it was going to put a freeze on new asylum applications. That would be a starter for 10. That would actually go some way to solving this problem. We are having a massive influx of people breaking into our country illegally because they know we are a soft touch. They know they can use our laws against us, and that fundamentally the rights of the law-abiding, common sense, patriotic majority like Jem are disregarded.
OK, Suella Braverman, thank you very much for your time this morning. Now, on the small boats issue, a Home Office spokesperson said, we want to end dangerous small boat crossings, which fuel organised criminal activity, put vulnerable lives at risk and undermine the security of our borders. We are determined to tackle the gangs behind that trade, and our enforcement agencies have delivered dozens of high-impact disruptions against them in the past year.
Yeah, and on the ECHR story, the Prosperity Institute is owned by the Legatum Group. The Legatum Group is also one of the lead investors in the holding company of GB News.
Now, up next, is Britain facing societal collapse? That's what Nigel Farage seems to think. What do you think? Get in touch. You're with GB News, Britain's newsroom. More after the break.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel. At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hello, it's just gone 11:30. This is Britain's Newsroom, live across the United Kingdom with me, Charlie and Dawn. Now, let's see what you've been saying. gbnews.com/your say.
Lots of you have been getting in touch about Suella Braverman's comments, who we were just talking to. Carol says, well done, GB News, for getting Suella on. Excellent, she has the right idea, but is sadly alone in her party. Meanwhile, Andy says, talking about the question we put to Suella, Nigel Farage saying Britain is facing societal collapse. Andy says Nigel is right, the UK is on a tipping point. One spark and the country will explode.
This man here says they are not small boats, they are ferries, which is basically true, Dawn. I mean, as soon as they get into British water, they're shadowed in by the French and then they're picked up by border force. So that's
it is, yeah. Well, I mean, that's we watched it live the other day when I had Christopher Hope on the show, and we had Mark White on a boat literally in the middle of the channel, and the French were bringing them over. Then the border force picked them up and buried them in, and it was ridiculous to watch. It's like, why are we doing this?
Caroline says, well done, GBN, for getting Suella on. Excellent. She has the right idea, but sadly is alone in her party. It was interesting hearing her talk about the shadow cabinet reshuffle, saying how much the party needs to now actually commit to policy because it can't get away with just saying things anymore. It actually has to get things sorted.
OK. Mike says the biggest human trafficker by far is the British government, and lots of you are agreeing with that one as well. But keep them coming in.
One final comment here. It's from the Reform Renaissance. He says, I'm muting again until you get another decent guest. Well, good news for you, Mr. Renaissance, because it's the 60-second news update with Aaron Armstrong. Get that volume up.
Thanks, Johnny. Good morning to you. Let's get you up to date with the headlines. The government to impose sanctions on people who help migrants come to the UK. The measures will target gang leaders, corrupt police officers, companies selling small boat equipment, and those helping to facilitate money transfers. Sir James Cleverly is expected to make a return to frontline politics as the Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch is set to reshuffle her shadow cabinet. Cleverly previously served in government as the Foreign Secretary and the Home Secretary. Police have confirmed the body found in a lake in Cheshire on Monday is that of the missing mother Rachel Booth. The 38-year-old was last seen on CCTV at a petrol station in the early hours of Saturday morning. Britain's joined 27 other countries in accusing Israel of drip-feeding aid to starving Palestinians in Gaza, where they say the suffering has reached new depths. A joint statement has demanded Israel immediately lift restrictions on the flow of aid. Israel has rejected its suggestions. And it's a happy birthday to there's more Gaza aid there, and we bring a happy birthday to Prince George, who is celebrating his 12th birthday today. Kensington Palace have released a photo to mark the occasion. I'll bring that to you a little bit later.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Thanks, Aaron. Well, up at noon, we've got Good Afternoon Britain with Tom and Emily. How are you doing? Emily, you must be a little bit stressed seeing your fella over the water.
I think I've gotten used to it now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Emily, don't worry. You're just about to give birth. I'm just off to Calais.
Yeah.
No, it was brilliant. He got so much footage. It was a bit nerve-wracking going over there, wanting to get these people smugglers, not knowing if they're going to turn up where they say they're going to turn up, not knowing if they're going to, you know, clock that he's not someone trying to get over the channel and that he is, in fact, an undercover journalist. So I think it was really impressive, and it does just show, doesn't it, really, just how much of this is going on.
But it's quite a threatening environment. If you watch that report, I mean, a bottle's thrown at him and...
Yeah, I wasn't very happy about that.
the aggression.
Let's get those cortisol levels back up, Emily. Let's get that stress.
I've had a lot of messages on Twitter saying, oh, Patrick, you're going to be a dad soon. Think of Emily. But no, it was fantastic.
Isn't that the point?
Yes.
I mean, he's getting all of this stuff out of his system now because as soon as he's a dad, he's going to have to be a lot more, perhaps, safety conscious,
Also,
or will he not be?
He's doing it for the future of the country.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And that's all the more important when you're bringing, you know, life into the world.
Yeah, very important.
There you go.
We should say
there's the positive spin.
We should say that at midday we'll be going live to a press conference from Nigel Farage in Wales. He says there's a big announcement from the Reform Party. We don't know what it is yet, but we'll be keeping our eyes peeled for that.
On the same day as this shadow cabinet reshuffle.
I think it's a big defection.
Possibly linked. A bigger defection
It
than
could be a
Jake
big
Berry,
defection.
perhaps?
Yes, it could be another defection, perhaps.
Right, we'll see.
Be interesting, absolutely.
Who would it be?
Well, I mean, we don't know who's actually in the shadow cabinet at the moment most of the time. So it's like we're all sitting there going, right, OK, yeah, you're going, right. Were you even there in the first place?
Yeah, we'll miss you dearly. Who were you? Right, well, looking forward to your programme. All that coming up at midday. But up next here on Britain's Newsroom, resident doctor strikes later this week could lead up to 250,000 missed appointments, as the BMA is warning patients they could be at risk at NHS hospitals from Friday. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News. See you after the break.
Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. For many, a fairly grey summer's day out there, a lot of cloud around, but signs of it brightening up in a few places, a little bit of sunshine poking through, but there are also going to be some showers, maybe even one or two heavy ones later on. Low pressure is in control, sitting just to the north of Scotland. Old weather fronts providing some light rain and drizzle, especially over the Midlands, southeast England, staying fairly damp in western Scotland. Some showers for Northern Ireland, some breaks in the cloud, bit of sunshine poking through, maybe lifting the temperatures into the low 20s, 23, 24 possible across the southeast. Many areas close to the average, so high teens, low 20s. Come this afternoon and into this evening, one or two heavy, even thundery showers could break out, most likely over parts of eastern Scotland and northeast England. Staying pretty damp on the west coast of Scotland, but we'll see, as I say, the cloud breaking up in a few places to reveal a little bit of sunshine here and there. Not a lot of that on offer across Northern Ireland, mostly cloudy here with some showers. As I mentioned, parts of northeast England, particularly east and North Yorkshire, could see some heavy, even thundery showers during the afternoon and into the evening. And there'll be a fair scattering of showers coming and going across Wales and southwest England too. Overnight, we'll continue with a lot of clouds. Some heavy showers could break out over the Midlands and South Wales too. Might see a downpour here. Elsewhere, the showers tending to ease. We'll see maybe a few more breaks developing in the cloud as temperatures dip into the low teens. On to Wednesday, again, a lot of cloud for most places, but should see some sunny spells coming through. And again, some heavy showers, most likely tomorrow over parts of East Anglia and southern counties of England. During the afternoon, the potential for a few lively thunderstorms that could drop a lot of rain. A sprinkling of showers for central and southern Scotland, but generally a drier day over the Midlands and parts of Wales. And again, temperatures high teens or low 20s.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You've read the headlines, and you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's 11:39. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News with Charlie Peters and Dawn Newsome.
Yeah, we are joined now by Judita De Silva and Piers Pottinger in the studio to go through what's making the news for you today.
Judita, let's start with this story in the Mail. We were just talking about in the break, actually, about 250,000 missed appointments on the NHS amid this doctors' strike.
Yeah.
They seem to be a little bit nervous, possibly aware of the effect that they're having and the reaction they're getting from the public.
Yeah. So it's the resident doctors, formerly referred to as junior doctors. From Friday, they're proposing to strike for 5 days, backed by the BMA. And while it is, in principle, because they do such a valuable profession prior to now, there's been a lot of support that the pay of doctors, particularly in the NHS, should be reflective of the importance of what they do. But since 2022, it's been 11 strikes. They've had increases to pay that others have not seen. No one else can match in the public sector. So West Streeting has met them halfway, and he's saying they're still negotiating now, and he's not going to budge on pay, but they can negotiate something else. But when you look at it, this think tank has said that 250,000 appointments could be cancelled or delayed, and when they look at consultants coming in to cover the resident doctors that are missing, it could go up to £87 million in cost. Based on the economic state of the country, it's tone deaf to be doing that now. Yes, you should, in theory, apply pressure for you to be recognised for your value to the country, but doing it now when very few people have anything to spare is what's changing general opinion that you don't seem to care based on your actions.
I mean, Piers, most of the country aren't in favour of this strike now. They've lost the support of the country. And, let's not forget that these doctors have gold-plated pensions. They have guaranteed work. I mean, we know people are struggling at the moment. And people are going to die, aren't they, basically?
Yeah, and they do take a Hippocratic oath, which I personally suggest they pay more attention to. I mean, the problem is the BMA is run by effective communists. They're people who love calling strikes. They're actually, I wonder if they're almost, I sometimes think they might be paid by Russians or the Chinese, because all they're trying to do is damage the NHS further. I mean, the BMA is a shocking organisation now, and 13 strikes since 2022. And the cost to the NHS, every time Streeting tries to do something, and to be fair to him, he's probably the best of a very poor bunch in the Labour Party. He is trying to do his best, and he's completely undermined by the BMA. And I remind, it's called the British Medical Association, whereas in fact it's actually the British Communist Party.
Okay, well, that's one way of putting it. I'm sure they'll push back against that.
Sure they will.
When Wes Streeting came into office, he made a big song and dance, didn't he, about getting a deal with these doctors straight away. You say he's the best of a bad bunch, but that deal, it didn't change anything. It just meant that they were striking again on even stronger terms.
I mean, it shows you, effectively the BMA is a trade union, and it shows you that the trade unions can't be trusted. And the trade unions, who are Labour's paymasters, now believe they're running the country. They've kicked out Angela Rayner, who they used to pay. That's Unite, of course, one of the other dreadful organisations. And the unions are holding this country to ransom at the moment and getting away with it, whilst every other sector in this country is suffering. Every other sector. The economy is going backwards. And when it comes to the NHS, which is the largest slice of all our taxes, go into that. And these doctors, these so-called resident doctors, again, they couldn't be called junior because it's, they think that's demeaning. These people are holding us to ransom, and they have no sympathy, no support for anyone, and they should take the message on board and cancel the strike.
OK, one final quick story, because it is on the front page of the Daily Mail, the biggest selling newspaper in the country. As Nigel Farage said on this show yesterday when we were covering the press conference, Britain is facing societal collapse. And Suella Braverman, who we've just spoken to, agreed with him. Judita, did you agree with that?
Yes and no. Because what he put forward is talking about he's going to bring down crime rates by, he's going to halve them in 5 years. He says that you can't rely on the figures from the ONS. He's going by figures reported by policing, and even then it must be higher because not all crimes are reported. But the key is the ONS takes into account unreported crimes, as well as it's not reflective of how reporting has changed, because in the past 20 years, the proliferation of digitization of companies has really expanded. So I do think that you have to look at the positioning of Nigel Farage. You have to now have a mandate, you have to have a platform, you have to have a plan. That's been the criticism. And part of Reform UK's structure is create an enemy and present yourself as the only solution. It's a classic political strategy, and that's what I believe he's doing, where he's creating the boogeyman and he's presenting himself as the hero.
I have to say, these enemies, these issues, they're not being created by Reform, they're being created by the conditions that people see every day. Reform aren't setting up the small boats crisis, they're certainly not setting up the shoplifting crisis in this capital, they're certainly not creating the short supply of housing. Are they not just reflecting people's legitimate concerns and pushing them forward and making them part of the news agenda? They're not creating these problems.
Not creating, they're creating the style of rhetoric, which is part of what politics is.
That's what everyone does.
Yeah, everyone does it, but then you recognise that that is what is being done. That is why people have started kicking the tires on the robustness of what Reform can actually do, and that you've seen Nigel pivot in response. Because, yes, there is a migration crisis, but the presentation of it is as something sinister and something scary. It bleeds into society, and then it creates a platform of people who feel they need a leader, and Nigel Farage presents himself.
OK, Piers, final word to you, just very quickly, one-word answer. Britain is facing societal collapse. Is it?
Yes.
Marvellous. That'll do. Thank you very
Top man.
much. Yes,
right.
we like those answers.
Thank you, Judita. Thank you, Piers. And a big happy birthday to Prince George. He's celebrating his 12th birthday today, and Kensington Palace have released this video to mark the occasion.
OK, now if you are in a search of some holiday sun, and who isn't, it's not too great here at the moment. Here's a forecast for some of those top European destinations.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's going to stay sunny across much of southern Europe this week, increasingly hot in Greece, but rather windy at times for Portugal and the Canaries. It's often windy for the Canary Islands at this time of year, but it's even more so for the next few days. Likewise for Portugal. Plenty of sunshine, however, through Iberia, a lot of showers through the Pyrenees and southern France. Italy, largely fine across much of the country, but we've got the heat building in Greece, temperatures inland up to 43 Celsius.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hello, welcome back. Here's 11:50. Now, running out of matches at home, no, not those matches, dating matches, singletons are now in a desperate hunt for love abroad.
Now, a poll by ID Mobile has revealed that 6 in 10 single Brits have revived old dating apps to find love overseas as local options disappear.
I literally have no doubt. 18% of singletons surveyed are now choosing holiday destinations based on dating potential. So that means like programming your location to say Ibiza, for example, so you get dates in Ibiza when you're living in Rochdale, I think. That's
well,
the case.
We're now joined by Anna Richardson, the Naked Attraction presenter and also relationships expert. Anna, thanks very much for coming on the programme this morning. We've heard about passport bros. You know this term about men who go overseas to find love because they've run out of opportunities at home. Is this just more and more people doing that digitally at home to start with?
I think this is really interesting research, actually, from ID Mobile. And to be honest, I think we're pretty cheesed off in the UK. It feels a bit like we've sort of done the dating apps. We're sick of being ghosted. We've got a cost of living crisis. You know, we're sick of the toxic politics. And given that more and more of us are digital nomads now, this is interesting that we're starting to look at love abroad and that people like ID Mobile are making that more easy for people to get their relationships. We're using apps more than ever before, if you think about it, dating apps, maps, translation apps. So why wouldn't you use this to find love in another country? I would.
OK, but it gets quite expensive actually going on an actual physical date, which is my generation, is what we used to do, you know, meet up in a pub or something or other. You know, if you're dating someone that's living the other side of the world that you've met on the app, I mean, you're not going to get to see them that much, are you?
Well, what this survey shows is that this is people who are travelling abroad in the first place, whether it's a holiday romance or whether they're staying there for a bit longer, perhaps they're living abroad as well, because, again, digital nomads. So the evidence shows that more and more people are using technology to find love. So I take your point that is it expensive if you're living in the UK, but actually, you know, borders are becoming more fluid. We are able to work abroad. And the point being that people are using technology to actually experience the local culture, local people more authentically.
Anna Richardson, thank you so much for your time this morning. We've run out of it here. That's it from us on Britain's Newsroom. Do I have to say I know about a man who went on a first date on an easy flight? It was magic.
Marvellous,
Very romantic to fly that far for it.
And would you swipe him left or right? That is the big question I want to leave you on right now.
Not available.
You're not actually, are you?
No.
Thank God for that. Thoughts and sympathy with the missus. Up next is Good Afternoon Britain with Tom and Emily. But first, here's your weather.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. We're going to see further outbreaks of rain and showers during the rest of the day, but some sunny spells will develop, particularly towards the south and later on the west. Initially, we do have an area of cloud and outbreaks of rain continuing across parts of western Scotland into northern England. That's going to gradually turn more patchy as we go through the morning and into the afternoon. Elsewhere, showers could pop up just about anywhere, but the heaviest downpours will be across eastern parts of the UK with some rumbles of thunder. In between the showers, some sunny spells and feeling pleasant enough in the sunshine, low to mid-20s in the south, high teens, low 20s further north. Then any showers that do form tend to fizzle away gradually overnight, although a few will be slow to clear across eastern parts of the country, and it stays damp in western Scotland. Reasonably mild overnight with a lot of cloud cover, and as you can see, some showers continuing into the evening for Northern Ireland. 18 Celsius there for Belfast. Similar temperatures across much of Wales and across southern parts of England. Some decent sunny spells, although I think at this stage we're going to see another batch of showers arriving into Cornwall and Devon. They'll move through overnight, but all in all, fewer showers overnight compared with the daytime, and with some clear spells about, well, temperatures will dip gradually to the mid-teens generally, although some spots holding up at 16 or 17 Celsius. Some mistiness around northern and eastern coasts. As we start off Wednesday, a real mixture of weather across the UK. Outbreaks of rain across parts of southern Scotland into northern England. That tends to drift southwards. Showers tending to pop up elsewhere, initially across southern parts of England, and then the focus for showers shifts east into the afternoon, with it turning drier towards the southwest and some decent sunny spells developing. Once again, feeling warm under any sunny spells.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point.
Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday Five.
You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's almost 12 o'clock on Tuesday, the 22nd of July. I'm Tom Hull.
And I'm Emily Carver.
Now, we'll be heading live to Wales, where the leader of the Reform Party, Nigel Farage, will be speaking. He says he has a big announcement.
In other news, the government announces a raft of new measures it claims will smash the gangs. But after small boat crossings rose by almost 50% in the first half of this year, does anyone trust this government to get a grip?
I think there's no doubt these sanctions will be disruptive to people smuggling operations, but they'll quickly adapt. They always do.
Elsewhere, GB News' Mr. Emily Carver put that very question to the test as he confronted people smugglers at the heart of the crisis in Calais.
You are a human trafficker, aren't you?
Are there?
Yes. Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain?